Thank you so much. And thank you for having me this morning. So I'm Tiffany Higganbotham. I'm a coordinated entry social worker for the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. And so I'm going to talk to you about the VA's goal for housing this year, and then the 2021 last year's challenge survey results. And so we'll get right into it. So the 2022 goal, there has been a nationwide goal by the Department of Veterans Affairs to house 38,000 veterans by the end of this year. That's a 5% increase than what we housed last year. And so we do this because we know that placing veterans in permanent housing is key to ending veteran homelessness, and that we must continuously identify innovative measures, strategies, and utilize our resources to increase those placements. So that's why they've set a goal, and we're going to house more this year than last year. So this is my rudimentary map of our catchment area. So the reason I'm showing this is because this is when I'm talking about this survey, when I'm talking about our goal, our local goal, these are the counties that we're talking about. So we do have them, I have them broken down by continuum of care. So as you can see, Knox County is its own. We have the Mountain Home VA Medical Center, or James H. Quillen VA Medical Center, has 19 counties in Tennessee, 7 in Virginia, and 4 in Kentucky. So this includes all of these counties. So our local goal, when they broke it down nationwide, was to house 170 veterans by the end of the year. So the good news is that as of this month, we have housed 143 veterans. And so that's 84% of our goal, but we do still have to house 27 more veterans to meet that goal, and that's an average of 5 per month. So what can you do to help? So the biggest thing is just to be aware of the VA homeless programs and how to make a referral. And I will be going over that information. And then have the National Call Center for Homeless Veterans telephone number ready to share. And I do have that number on this slide, but it's on some other slides as well. But that number is a 24/7 number that veterans can call from anywhere in the country, and they will receive, someone will answer the call, or it's a chat online they can do. And then it directs them to the nearest VA, and then the VA will contact them back within 24 business hours. So that's a really great number to have. And then to just assess veteran status when you work with individuals, and assess for homelessness when you're working with individuals. So just kind of be aware if you're working with a homeless or veteran experiencing homelessness. Collaborate with the VA homeless programs to house veterans, and take the challenge survey, which we're going to talk about that, and then collaborate with the VA to fulfill those unmet needs that are identified by the challenge survey. So we will talk about that. So let's first go over the local programs. Now, there are more programs nationwide, but these are what we have here in our catchment. So we do have the HUD-VASH program. HUD-VASH is a collaboration between the U.S. Department of HUD and Urban Development, which is Housing and Urban Development, which is HUD, and the VA. So HUD will provide eligible veterans with a housing choice rental voucher, and then the VA provides ongoing case management and supportive services with housing stability as the goal. So this is our version of permanent supportive housing, if you're familiar with that program. Next, we have the Grant Per Diem program. That's a transitional housing program where we contract with community partners to house veterans transitionally. So we do have a contract in Knoxville, which is the Steps House Inc., and the address is there. And then we also contract with the Johnson City Salvation Army. And then we have SSVF, which is Supportive Services for Veteran Families. This is a rapid rehousing program. If you're familiar with rapid rehousing, this is going to help veterans get back into housing with their deposits, first month's rent, or it's going to help them prevent homelessness. And all of our catchment is covered by Volunteers of America through 3 different offices. So they're our grantee for that. And so we have the Johnson City office number there, and then the Knoxville office, and then Carolinas and Chesapeake cover our 7 Virginia counties. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of flying through this because it's a lot of information, but thank you for bearing with me. So the next program is the domiciliary. That's here at the Johnson City VA Medical Center. That is a residential treatment program for veterans experiencing homelessness. So they live in a 24/7 structured and supportive environment, and housing placement is the goal at the end. So if you look at these services, we have an inpatient program, we have rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, and then we have transitional housing. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of that. Other services that we do offer here, we do have community outreach personnel. We have veterans justice outreach that go and do outreach in the jails. We have peer support. We have a community employment person. We have someone that connects with coordinated entry. That's me. We have we have substance abuse counselors. We have the homeless veterans dental program. Right now, that program is only for veterans who are in our residential programs like rent per diem and domiciliary. But they do have that program, and along with VA healthcare. And then the most important thing, here are the numbers that you can call if you have a veteran. So again, that National Call Center for Homeless Veterans, and then there is our local office number in Knoxville. I do have these numbers again at the end, so I'm gonna go on. So the next part of this presentation is about the challenge survey and project challenge. So challenge stands for Community Homeless Assessment, Local Education and Networking Groups. And this was a VA initiative started in 1994. So what it really does is it unites the community and veterans and any interested party in finding what are the needs of veterans and trying to address those needs. So the two main components are the survey. So the survey is so important, and I'm gonna urge you to please take this survey, and I have the link at the end. But the survey identifies all the needs of our veterans so that are experiencing homelessness. So that goes through every category you can imagine: transportation, legal services, shelter, food, medical services, and the veterans and the providers can select whether or not they think that need is being met. And so then what we do with the challenge survey data that we get every year is it actually goes directly to Congress. This is used to fund and expand and create programs that are for veterans. And so we have like our HUD-VASH program, SSVF, those are two big ones. I know you work with a lot. Those were affected by this survey, as well as they created the Homeless Veterans Dental Program because of this survey. And VJO was affected. Recently, I heard that we're going to start contracting with providers to provide legal services for veterans, and that was directly related to this survey. So please take the survey, and I'll show you the information in a second. But first, I want to go through last year's data, and that's a part of Project Challenge, is kind of sharing what the needs were, and so that you guys can be aware and help us fill those needs. So last year's survey, there were 358 responses and 72 categories were explored. And so we'll get right into the results. So according to the veterans who took the survey, these are the needs for them that are being met the most. So it's not surprising to see some basic things like food, hygiene, that we know our communities are good at providing, as well as medical services, and like substance abuse treatment, medication management that the VA often provides. So then if you go, and case management was the #1 thing they identified as being met for them, which was surprising to me a little bit. And then these are what the veterans felt were being met the least for them. So again, not surprising to see registered sex offender housing. We know that is a deficit in all of our region. And then also a lot of legal services they identified were not being met for them, as well as financial guardianship and tax services, domestic violence protection orders. And the #1 that wasn't met was legal assistance for expungement of a criminal record. So these are the results were according to providers, and that's including VA employees as well as community providers. So as a group, we felt like medical services were being met the most for veterans. Again, it's a lot of basic needs and medical services that were being met the most, as well as spiritual, they felt were being met for them. And then these are what were being met the least according to providers, and treatment for dual diagnosis was identified as being met the very least. And then again, a lot of legal services and registered sex offender housing. So we kind of talked about this, but these are the recurring themes, and on the left are what are being met the most according to both groups, and then on the right are what are being met the least for both groups. Okay. So if I were to average all the scores and not just go by the number of responses, and I weighted them based on whether they said, you know, occasionally met, very met, and I, you know, weighted them and I put them out. This is what are being met the most combined as a weighted average. So medical services were the most, registered sex offender housing was the least. And then this one I put on there because this always is so jarring to me, but it says, how would you describe the health of your teeth and gums? And you can see the largest portion say poor. So that is, and then next to that, you know, you see fair and good, but very few said that their teeth and gums are excellent. So we know that that is an area that is needed amongst veterans experiencing homelessness. And then I put this in here because there's a question on there. It says, how aware of veterans' needs and resources are community homeless agencies? The veterans thought that community agencies are mostly aware. However, there were 5 responses that said not aware at all. So there are still some, you know, work we need to do to just educate our community about what services are out there for veterans. And then if you compare the 2020 results to the 2021 results, all these things remain. So case management continued to be the most met need according to veterans. Medical services continue to be the most met need for providers, and registered sex offenders continue to be the most unmet need for providers. So we know this is a recurring theme that's happening. So what can you do to incorporate these results into our services? And that's just really a rhetorical question. So, you know, seeing that we're having deficits with legal services, for example, a registered.
You actually hit a mute button.
Whoops. Sorry, thank you.
Okay, no, that was me. Yes.
Sorry. Okay. I was like, how did I do that? Anyway.
Can you start over, Tiffany?
Oh no. That would take too long. So basically, if you think about what services you are providing in your agency, how can you collaborate with us as the Department of Veterans Affairs to meet these needs that are the veterans are identifying as being unmet for them? So just think about that. And then here is the challenge survey link. So I know I've talked about this in other meetings. Unfortunately, they did not offer us a QR code this year, but this is how you can take the survey. And I will put this in the chat. And I really, I cannot plead with you enough. Please take the survey. We need Knoxville represented in these results. We really do. So, and you guys have such good information about homelessness and what is needed. And I know we don't have much time for questions, but if you have a question, you're welcome to call me or email me. There's my information. And again, there's those local offices that you can call for direct services for veterans in the homeless hotline. So that is all I have to share this morning. Thank you so much.